Hey, it's Big Daddy. What's up, everybody? This show is going to rock. Hey, you see this over here? That's the graphic for a little short track racing in my area, an area I grew up in, Drums, Pennsylvania. Folks, I know that a lot of you watch locally. If you haven't been down to the track, don't be foolish like I was and wait until 2018 to get there. It's a good time. Hey, we got already, we're ready to blast off. We got Ted Grow in the back office of the Big Daddy Roadshow. I'll look for a thumbs up from Ted. Are you ready? Are you going green? Ready to go? Okay, cool. We're going to get rid of this graphic. But by the way, folks, Evergreen Raceway in Drums. You'll see that graphic again as the show goes on. Let's make some room for Ted Grow, the announcer. He's the guy that kind of tells you who's coming in first and last. And we're smoking together. We're smoking buddies tonight.
What's up, Big Daddy?
You're live.
Yes, sir. How we doing?
This is your first visit to the Big Daddy Roadshow. I am a fan of yours. I watch your show. I was telling the guys in the pits last night, I got a lot to learn. I'm more of a NASCAR fan. So, short track, I was kind of, it's the second time I was down there last night. And, our guy, Keith StClair.
Yes, I do.
He was driving them little four-cylinder front-wheel drive vehicles.
Yes, sir, he was.
Driving the tires off that thing, I was right there in turn, I guess, one. And to watch him handle that car and then try to make some adjustments during the break.
He's a beast, man.
Yeah, and he's used to driving the stock cars, but he's working. Listen, I want two objectives on this show, Mr. Grow. I want to promote the heck out of Evergreen Raceway. And I want to try to help my friend, a guy who's been on this show so many times, Keith StClair, get a sponsor so he can get a new motor in that car he's been building for the last 8 months.
Right.
And I'm going to show pictures of all that. And I want to talk about that guy down there, Scott Adams, who is just a rock star. In my mind, he let Keith ride his other car, the number 27 car.
Yep.
So, I wanted to have you on. Here's why I wanted to have you on tonight. I have a bad back. I had an issue with the dryer. I was moving an old dryer. Those things are heavy, Ted.
I can imagine.
And when they get out of control and you got to kind of grab it, I thought I was going to be in trouble. But I was almost not going to come to the races last night because I thought I was going to be in big trouble. I thought, nope, let me get that prescription of Vicodin. I'm going down, and I'm glad I did. Let me tell you something. I don't even know how you could go 3 wide on that short track, but I seen 3 wide racing last night on the final race. Explain that to me.
It's crazy the amount of talent that these guys have and how they're able to, battle within inches of each other to where you can only fit a piece of paper or a dollar bill between them. It's just incredible. I fell in love with racing at an early age, and it's just amazing what they can do and how talented they are.
Hey, Ted, were you ever in a race car, or have you just been a fan of racing?
Hell no, I would never drive a race car. My road rage is insane. It would never happen.
Yeah, see, I don't really have road rage, but my back, Danny. Hey, what's up? There's Danny in the chat, right on cue. What's up, Danny? Danny took me, you were there on the first visit of the track, and he took me out on the track when you were trying to dry the track. You guys have been having a heck of a time with the weather this summer.
Yeah, it's been kind of rough. We've had, I want to say 7 or 8 rainouts, and we've only probably raced 7 times. So 50 for 50, 50% we've been able to race. And last night was a call that we made early that we're going to run, and I'm glad we did because we put on one hell of a show, that's for sure.
Yeah, Evergreen Raceway and Drums. The weather was perfect. I don't know what it's like in your little box up in the sky you sit in, but actually I do know what it's like, but I couldn't imagine what it's like. You don't have air conditioner in there, I imagine, with the microphones, right?
Oh, I have an air conditioner.
Oh, you do have it cranking? You must have a good microphone. I'll have to get the name of that microphone. But yeah, okay, folks, if you're just joining us, this is the Big Daddy Roadshow. We are going to ask you to share this show. We hope we have some race fans and some racers from Evergreen. I wanted to ask you, Ted, the racers that race at Evergreen, where are they coming from? A couple states away, or where do they come from?
Yeah, I mean, you got guys that'll come from the tri-state, like New York, New Jersey, obviously Pennsylvania. We've had guys that came from North Carolina this year, Connecticut. You got guys that'll come from South Carolina, guys that'll come from all over. If the money's right and if it's there, and we've had a lot of people come from out of state and a lot of people that race weekly that are out of state.
Yeah, you have a great operation down there. You got a nice food stand. You're always seen. I've only been down there twice, but I'm always welcomed. I want to thank you guys for the all access passes. By the way, Jason Makarevich, right? Am I saying that name right?
Perfect.
Jason's a rock star. Yeah, Makarevich is a normal name around these parts. But Jason, other than coming up to Big Daddy and saying, "Oh my God, you again?" And I'm like, "That's right, buddy. We're here for the number 27 car and Scott Adams' car tonight." So, actually, I want to stress, Keith StClair was in the back office of the software folks. Hang tough. He's having some issues. Keith, if you can hear me, hi Tanya, how are you? We have some people watching, Ted, so I might get some questions, and we'll put it up on the screen for you. Before we get Keith on, though, I want to show people, look at the kind of people that Ted hangs out with. Mr. Excitement from NASCAR. Jimmy Spencer, are you kidding me?
Hometown boy, man.
Berwick.
Yes,
is it
sir.
Berwick, right?
Yeah, Jimmy is a local boy from Berwick. He has a home in Berwick and North Carolina. And he was up a couple of weeks ago he's affiliated with Brady Spencer, one of our rookies in the street stock division, who I believe is only like 14 years old, driving, a stock car street stock like he saw last night. That was that blue 27. But Jimmy's just an awesome dude. I was able to talk to him a little bit about, local short track racing, to asking him about the state of NASCAR right now. Jimmy was so cool, man. It was so cool that, I was like, Jimmy, I got you. Let me take care of your food. I took care of his food and everything like that. And Jimmy and I sat there and we bullshitted for probably about, a good 20 minutes, half hour. I actually got to interview him on the microphone, the PA system, and not a lot of people can say they've talked to a former NASCAR winner before. So that was pretty cool.
All right, now here I am blowing smoke. Back in my other lifetime before my back accident, I had a customer that was president of NBNA Credit Card Company, and he sent me and my family to the races. Hot pit passes when they actually meant something. The old hot pit passes for NASCAR were similar to being back like it was last night at Evergreen. You were right up with the racers. And then I guess they had some accidents and they kind of kept the people back a little bit. But yeah, I hung out with Jimmy Spencer in Georgia, in Las Vegas. I was at the inaugural Las Vegas race. Pocono, of course, right up the highway. That's why I was telling people, if you're looking to get to Evergreen, it's only about, if you drive fast, 25 minutes away from Pocono. If it's slow, maybe 45 minutes?
Yeah, just about that. A couple of, quick highways here or there, and you're all set. We're probably, not far from there. I know when Pocono is around, we do get some fans and stuff that stop out. We do work with Pocono a little bit. They give us some tickets. They have their pace car there the first NASCAR weekend at Pocono. So we do have a great relationship with Pocono Raceway.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. And I love Pocono. I mean, I went to Pocono back in the 70s. All right, Keith StClair, you're in the back office. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. All right, he is ready too. So we're going to switch. Before I bring Keith up, there's a picture of that blue 27 car from last night, kind of sideways. He was actually ended up going the wrong way on the track for a while there. I don't know who was driving that car last night, but it was fun. Those races last night were fun. Here, all right, Keith. Keith's kind of wobbling his camera. Ted, he's not a pro cameraman. Having issues, so we might have to keep talking here. Here's what I'll do. We'll set it up while Keith's getting his camera straight. Let's talk about this Mr. Adams fella who, you guys in the racing community, I guess the other racers, they know when other guys are having trouble with their cars and they always reach out to help. This guy reached out and gave his other car to let Keith ride it on the track. And I think that's really cool because I asked Keith, I said, did he ask you like just to behave with it and not? And he said, no, you go out there and run it as hard as you can. I thought that was pretty cool. And here's a picture of Scott Adams' number 27 car. I want to ask you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's passion. It's everybody has that same passion for racing. Scott's one of the good guys. 98.8% of everybody is willing to help out somebody, willing to do whatever they can to get somebody else to race. Last night was the Tony Fisher Memorial. I know Keith had a close friendship with Tony, and Tony was one of the people that would help out at Evergreen, and he's actually a close family member, brother actually of our office manager. So we decided to hold a memorial for him, and I know Keith was busting his hump to get that car done. Didn't get it done. Scott reached out to him and said, come and drive my car, and you couldn't have asked for a better car or better equipment to be able to run in that race. So Keith had a nice top 10 finish. I think he finished like 8th or 9th, somewhere in there. So
yeah,
it was good to see Keith back in the car.
It was number 9. I think it was 9th. Hey,
Yep.
Don't let me forget to talk about your cool pace car. It's a pace dune bucky. I love it. All right, he's here. Let's try and get him. Here's some pictures of the T-shirt for Mr. Fisher. We'll get that story from Keith. Keith's actually wearing the T-shirt, and I wanted to put the picture of Keith with all his women before we get Keith. Here we go, Keith. We're going to bring you live. You ready? And you're going to be with Ted Groh, okay? And okay, he's nodding. He's good. Here he comes. Keith StClair, everybody. Oh, everybody start clapping for Keith.
There he is.
What's going on?
How you doing, brother?
What's going on?
Same old, same old.
Yeah, well, it was good to see you on the track last night.
It felt good.
I bet. That's what I want to ask you about. Like, it's been a while. You're having trouble. I mean, I told you I'm trying to get you a sponsor. If anybody's watching this show with the announcer from Evergreen, we're trying to get a sponsor for the number 32. We call him Speed Racer on the Big Daddy Road Show. Hashtag number 32 Speed Racer. Holler back. Keith, you're being shy. You're being humble here. What did it feel like? I mean, and I know Ted's going on 2 hours sleep in the last 48 hours, so he's being a trooper. What was it? It's been a while. What was it like? You were a little bit nervous, and that car did give you some. The handling issues were like wild, but you were holding that pedal to the floor, weren't you?
It wasn't the car. I just couldn't get off the corner. I don't know what the issue was, if it was me, car, whatever. But since the third lap, I just kept it floored the whole way and just worked the brake pedal.
Ted, you've watched a lot of races from up there. These cars are so close to one another with the RPMs, and I mean, it doesn't even seem like they have a lot of space to pass each other. But last night we seen it, 3 cars wide. Of course, sadly, there was a wreck. And I believe it was this was the final race. Remember, Keith, I was going to leave because my back started to get all tight. And when I saw the car that you're working on the track, I'm like, you know what? I got to watch it. This is the point of coming for me. I love the stock cars. So I don't know about, I know you had some issues with the rules, and we're all about positivity on this show. Racing, I'm sure it's a real pain in the you-know-what when wrecks happen and you only have a couple laps to go. But that race last night, I heard you say it from the speakers that it was one of the best races you've ever seen, Ted.
Yeah, without a doubt. I've been in racing since, I'm 16. I've been announcing since I'm 16, so almost 17 years, going on 18, and I've never seen a race that intense. I'm sitting here right now with goosebumps just talking about it. Just the amount of racing and amount of side-by-side and door-by-door, racing that you had with Mike Pollock and Randy Arter Jr. and Todd Arner was just unbelievable. And I was going ballistic on the microphone just because of how exciting it was. And that's my job. And I've never seen two guys, rub doors and still continue on and come down to a bumper, last lap pass bumper. Just incredible. And it was crazy to see that. And that was a great nightcapper. And after the modifieds, nobody left. And I think they got their money's worth in just that race alone.
Oh, yeah, I was listen, that's me. I'm clocking it. There was like over 3 hours of entertainment. As a person who doesn't know anything or much about short track racing, it never stopped. As soon as one heat was over, the cars were coming on the track for the next race. I got to give the crowd down there kudos. I also want to give a shout out to Mr. Click. He used to work down there. He passed away years ago too. Do you guys remember Jerry? He was my first boss when I was a teenager. And what a hell of a guy he is. I don't even know what position he held at the track, but I know he had a lot of goings on down there at Evergreen over the years, way back when. And I want to, if any of my friends are watching that know Mr. Click, he was just the best. Let's talk about that. What is it, a family operation with the Arners, the number 55 and number 45?
I don't think there's any kind of just I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't believe there's any kind of relation there. Just kind of that kind of name that's down, a little bit down, a little south from us. You have the Arner name, which is pretty popular, and those two have been racing a long time. Todd is a veteran of, I want to say, 15, 20 plus years of, street stock racing, and Randy's come up through the ranks from the factory stocks to the street stocks, and they put on a hell of a show last night, with Mike Pollock. Unfortunate with what happened, but either way, whatever happened, those guys should not hang their head at all whatsoever, because they put on a hell of a show. They had the people on their feet. They had the people screaming, hollering, carrying on with myself. And, that's what short track racing's all about. That's what Evergreen's all about. We try to keep the show moving. We had 3 divisions, 16 plus cars in each division, and we were done and out of there by 11 o'clock at night. So a 3-hour show on a Friday night like that is remarkable.
Is that typical, the amount of time it takes?
It really depends on what's going on or what kind of action there was. Last night was fairly calm for a short track race, even though the things that did happen, it was fairly calm. But some nights you run a little long because, you may have some accidents that take a little while to clean up. But typically it's normally a 3.5 hour, 4-hour show.
Okay, cool. All right, we lost Keith, but he's back in the back office. That's nothing new for the Big Daddy Road Show. We're going to bring him back. Here's a picture of Keith last night. I love that little 4-cylinder because they have, like, instead of a windshield, he had like fencing material. And I'm a photographer, and I really enjoyed photographing him, even though it was just with my cell phone. That's a great shot of him getting ready right before going out to his race. I got to remember to ask him what was the issue with his steering wheel. They're having a hard time popping that on. But here we are. We'll bring him back. And Ted, thanks for coming on the Big Daddy Road Show and talking racing. I greatly appreciate it. Us announcers, we got to stick together, brother.
Hell yeah, man. I hear you there. I love it.
So, Keith, you're back. What's the story? You're not in the garage working on number 32. What the hell's up with that?
No, I'm waiting for my kids to come home.
Okay. That's another thing I liked about Evergreen. Lots of kids, big family fun. Like, you just see it everywhere. I was there the last time they had one of those jumping, what do you call those darn things?
Jump house.
Bounce house.
Jump house. Yeah. Why do I think that Keith was in that thing?
Probably was.
I might have been.
Keith, how about you give a shout out to Scott and tell him, what you're thinking. I know you were that was so cool. I want you to tell everybody about Mr. Fisher and what went on with that. And Ted, we'll go back to just talking the track and more racing right after we let Keith say that, if you'd stay with us.
Listen, I'll start with Tony. Tony, he was a great man. He would help anybody out. He was with Heffelfinger. He was with Schultz. Helped me out whenever he could. Just loved. He never raced himself, but he literally just loved the sport of racing. And to spend that much time in the sport and not race yourself, you really have to love the sport. And it was unfortunate that he passed, and even that he passed, the entire Fisher family has done nothing but support me and try to get me back out there. And I can't thank them enough for that.
Yeah, the Fisher family's always raising money for somebody. Listen. I know some of the ladies that were in that picture, and I can tell you that they're always doing something for somebody. That's cool. Well, that's neat that you did that. All right.
Now, as for Scott,
yeah, Scott's the one I think is the biggest rock star right now on this show, because here's a guy here's a picture of him when he was just about to go out in the track.
Scott is a very quiet but yet humble person. And I actually reached out to him because I knew he had a modified and street stock and that, and I asked him if I could run his car and just put it on the back, and he said that his car wasn't ready, but he said, so you could race in Tony's race, I got a 4-cylinder and run it. And I can't thank him enough, because it's honestly the only race that I was really planning on running this season, and see what happened with my car and see what was what. So if it wasn't for Scott, I'd have just been sitting at home staring at myself. So I got to give a big shout out to him.
Yeah, well, we're not giving up. We're going to get you back out on that track. We got to get 32 on that track, right? So
hopefully, I'm not giving up. So
Ted, that car you said, that's another interesting story from that track. You got some young driver that's out there. What did you say? He drives the 27 car?
Yeah,
that's Braden Spencer. Yep.
Oh, okay. Now, is this his car here that I have that I took last night? Was that his? Or
no, not that. The blue street stock.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I just think that's, and he started out when? At what age?
12.
12.
So at 12 years old, you could be on one of those short tracks barreling with guys like Keith.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
As long as your parents sign for you.
Right. I know. It's just, to me, there's a story right now going around about a young girl. I think she's 13, and she's tearing up all kinds of speed records on a motocross bike out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And it just blows my mind what these young kids are capable of, I don't know, man. Keith, you hit the wall down there at Evergreen, and that had to hurt. Some of the racers were talking about your crash, about how they said, when I was right there on turn 1, they were telling me that was a nasty little crash you had.
I could tell you one thing. It sure wasn't fun. That was the hardest hit I've ever taken.
Ted, were you there that night? Were you doing the announcing for that race?
I was there that night, and I saw Keith go into the corner, and all of a sudden the car just did not turn left, and I kind of said a quick prayer, make sure he's all right, and thankfully the car was built well to help him get out of that safely. I'm sure he was kind of beaten up a little bit, had some bruises, or may have been sore, but the most important part at any kind of accident, no matter who it is to make sure that they're safe once they get out of that car.
Now, one of our watchers in chat, Tanya Miller, she says she's never been to a race. How sad is she? It's okay, Tanya. There's plenty of time to figure it out. We got to get you down there if you're in the area.
Hey, real quick, for that day, I want to commend Evergreen, and I used to work as an official. I commend all them, ambulance crew, everybody, including Jeff Aller, Ted, because I actually heard him on the speaker. Everybody did their job in a great amount of time to make sure that I was safe and all that. And Evergreen usually 100%. They're always on point, so I got to give them a shout out on that.
But I tell you what, it's like these are giving me perfect soft pitches for segues to giving Danny Reed a shout out. Danny took me out on the track. I was telling Ted, I think Ted was watching that last time when it was raining, and he kept trying to dry the track. And he took me out of this old, it had to have been a 70s truck. And, I was so excited about being on the track, and a friend's young little girl, she's a friend of mine, and Danny brought her in the truck, and we were having so much fun. I didn't think of my back, and that was the beginning of my serious back issues all summer. So, Danny, I love you, brother, but I don't know what it is about that track. Last night, back issues. Tonight, the other night, but Danny crushed my back on Evergreen Raceway. But it was so much fun. I didn't feel the pain until 48 hours later, maybe 24. But shout out! I told Danny I'd be giving him a shout out on the show. Danny, he had a car. Did he get in racing down there? He was racing, wasn't he? Just recently.
Yeah.
Yep.
What series was he getting into? Was he in the 4-cylinder?
He was in the 4-cylinder Enduro. It's just a little bit of a different series. They don't run the Hoosier tires that Keith's division ran, but they go 100 laps, no yellow flags, green, red, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah, well, I didn't know I have no idea what kind of car Scott Adams was driving. What is that car? I have no idea.
Modified.
So it's why do we even have a modified? What's the whole deal there? When did that come to fruition? What's the difference between that and stock car, and why were they made? And educate us.
The modified is actually the oldest car, or the oldest series in NASCAR. It was one of the first series that was ever brought out. So, I want to say it was started in 1950s, 60s, somewhere in there. But basically what it is you have, I think they're 16-inch wide tires with 600 horsepower plus motors. They're modified to go fast, and they're modified to sit low on the ground. And, the amount of horsepower and the amount of, G-force that you sit in those cars, it's absolutely crazy. And I hate to say it, Big Daddy, but those things are just sexy.
Yeah. Oh, no. Listen, you saw me photographing it, didn't you? Us photographers.
Yeah, I did.
Listen, we're attracted like moths to a light. Anything shiny that makes a lot of noise, and if you add that it goes fast, I love things that go. Listen, I like hot women, hot-looking cars and motorcycles, and going fast. Matter of fact, next time, I think I'm officially on his pit crew. I had so much fun last night. Not like I did much. I actually what I did last night was when he was changing air pressure, I was like, attaboy. That was good. Hey, really quick, did the air pressure help when you went out the second time? Did you think did it actually help in any way, or?
It helped. It helped for the first 10 laps. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping for a caution to try to get me back up there. But that's part of racing. There was no cautions, caution free. Started last and made the best out of it. And I actually commend all the other racers, because in all divisions, everybody put on a show. So
let me try and get to some of the chat. And guys, the chat is scrolling by, and sometimes I can't catch it, so please apologize. I will respond after the show. Danny says that in his race, he started 24th and finished 15th out of 32. And then Scott Adams says, my daughter is 11. She was practicing. Hey, Scott, what's happening? Kudos to you, man. I just love real good human stories where people are being cool with one another. He says she was practicing the 27 in the afternoon before Keith ran it. How about that? Oh, wow.
Yeah, right when I got to the track, I had to change the seat.
Oh, wow. 11 years old. That's pretty cool. And Scott, was she on the track? We got Scott in the chat there, Ted.
Back, making some proud of herself, and she continued to get better and better. Actually, funny story is I think they had an issue with, the starter or something like that, and I actually had pushed her a couple of times with my personal truck. So, Scott, Scott's a great family man, loves his kids, does whatever he can for them, including his wife, Jen. And, his daughter was picking it up and putting it down pretty quick. And from what I understand, she'll be racing in what they call the junior four-cylinder division on the 24th, which is for, kids, I believe, like 11 to 13 or something like that. So she'll make her stock car debut in just a couple of weeks.
Well, that's cool. And when we get down there, we'll probably cover her a little bit too. Keith, look at this. Your number one fan besides me, Bruno, up in New Hampshire. They got racing up in New Hampshire. I know they do.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a road trip, Keith. Take number 32 Speed Racer. He's kind of getting you in the chat with the Speed Racer. So listen, this is okay. So we covered Keith coming back. Now we're getting the scoop. Keith, you don't want to finish out the year down there. You want to just get the car, test it, and then what? Come out fresh next year with it? If we get you a sponsor, if somebody watches this show and gets that motor in that car, which you are ready, you just need that motor dropped in.
Mm-hmm.
You'll run the rest of the season down there, wouldn't you? I mean,
as a racer, I can't say no. So if there was a motor in there right now and the lights were on down there, I'd be down there testing.
I'm going to tell the audience, Ted, what he said. He doesn't know I'm going to say this, but he was talking to one of the guys. What was the name of your pit crew guy? What was his name? I want to give him a shout out too.
Oh, my stepdad, Bill.
Okay, well, Bill was cool, and Bill was helping. What was with your steering wheel? You couldn't get it on? It was freaking me out that you were going to have to start the race without a steering wheel.
No, you couldn't. There was a certain spot to put it on, and I for whatever reason I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, okay. And we lost Ted, so hopefully Ted will get reconnected, and we'll finish up with our first racing show. We're supporting our racer, number 32 Speed Racer, as Bruno alludes to. What do you got back there? I'm not seeing. What's going on back there? Is that the police? I can't see. It's kind of dark, Keith. Explain to us what we're looking at there.
My wife was flipping you off.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, the love on the Big Daddy Road Show. Nice. What's happening? How are you, dear? Okay. All right. That's enough. This is a family show. We lost Ted. Ted, if you could disconnect from the software and come back and just say goodbyes, this would be great. Folks, we're talking to Keith StClair. He was racing at Evergreen Raceway last night. While we're missing Ted, what's it like to be gone from the track? And then, I mean, is it jittery? Is it like, or right when you get back out there, are you fine? You did some test laps, I guess, before the race, right?
Yeah, I did. I did the first round of practice. I didn't do the second because I felt pretty comfortable in the car. But in practice, you're not really by anybody. You're kind of out there by yourself. And I felt comfortable. Car was fast. Heat race came, and that's when the nerves and I'm not gonna lie, I had one flashback, but I just tried to ignore it. And when I came in, Scott Adams actually was like, if the car feels comfortable, go. So for the feature, I tried to push the car as far as I could.
Oh, cool. I'm having some technical difficulties with my software here. Keith, 1 second, stand by.
No problem.
Okay, I think I got it.
But real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Bill for coming to help me. Even you, even though you had, your back issues and that still come out and support me.
I'm just
pretty cool.
I'm just a constant supporter of the underdogs, which, by the way, folks, the Big Daddy Road Show is an underdog itself. So if you'd like to hit Patreon up with $1 a month pledge, we'd greatly appreciate that. You need a motor and I need a sponsor too. So we're both pitching for sponsors on the Big Daddy Road Show tonight. Yeah. Ever since I lost Ted Grow, I seem to have some issues. Let me see if I can turn some windows off here. I can't even get to switch out my pictures. Keith, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put some graphics on the screen and I'm going to reboot the show here. Guys, if you're watching, I'm also having some issues getting to let's see. I can put this. Okay, I still see Danny's chat here. That's a good thing. It might pop you off, Keith.
Okay.
If we do have issues, I'm going to try and reboot the show here. Hold on 1 second. You're going to see just graphics. You're going to lose me and Keith most likely. We'll be back right after this. Just give us a couple seconds. Stand by. We're talking racing with Keith StClair and Ted Groh on the Big Daddy Road Show. We'll be right back.
Really?
What did you do today? Looks like I'm waking up early in the morning to clean up outside.
Okay.
You were home all day by yourself. All day.
Yep.
The grass, I should have cut it when you ripped it out of my hand.
Okay, and we're back. And I lost Keith. We're going to finish up. Ted's back in the back office. Thank you, Ted. We're going to finish up here. I want to make sure. Let me get some graphics up here on the screen. What the heck is going on with my? No idea. Gotta love this Be Live software. It wants to misbehave. See if I can make this window smaller, and then we'll get Ted back. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Maybe I won't be able to get all the other pictures up, but we had quite a few pictures. We had Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer, if you're a NASCAR fan, was up there in the picture with Ted. Here comes Ted live again. We're going to bring back Keith StClair. Look at that handsome guy inside the fence, inside the number 27 car. Ted, you're back. We're going to finish up. This is the Big Daddy Road Show. We're talking racing with the announcer from Evergreen Raceway. Look at him, folks. Look at him. I have beard envy, by the way, Ted. I have beard envy. This is as much as, this is like, this here is the length I get, right? After, this is going on probably 6 years. It doesn't get any longer. And I don't like facial hair like all over the place. So,
Right.
But if people will say, why do you even do that? And I go, double chins, man, double chins. I don't want that.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
We're going to bring back Keith, and we'll finish up any thoughts you guys want to. I'll still try tinkering with this. I love putting the pictures up because, people dig the pictures. So maybe I can get this one up. Let's see. Yep, there's one of the pits last night. It's cool how much money these guys have involved in these cars. The haulers, they have their own portable garage lighting. It's pretty neat being back there. And it wasn't what I thought, though. With these cars, it didn't seem like NASCAR. They're not ripping them apart, or do they? Was that just a good night and everybody's car was handling well and not having issues? Doesn't seem like you have the time to really change a motor during these races.
You blow a motor in short track racing, you're pretty much done for the night. You can make minor adjustments, tire pressure, sway bars, springs, shocks, things like that, just like NASCAR can do. But, those guys come to the track with one car, one motor, truck and trailer, and they go at it. They do it for as Keith can attest to, they do it for the love and the passion of the sport and the adrenaline that's constantly pumping. My adrenaline pumps all the time when they're on the track and I'm on the mic. It's a crazy feeling, and there's nothing like it.
Yeah, no, where I was standing most of the night, I couldn't really hear the speakers for the bleachers. Was that you on the speakers for the track too, or are you live? Are you both live, or do you do that live? Is it on the internet, or how does that work?
No, it's basically just the public address system that's at the track that comes on the speakers. You have all the stuff up top. I actually had technical difficulties last night. I had a mic that took a crap on me, and we were able to find one and get one up and running after 20 minutes of going out. But it's just a microphone. You're on it. It's just like trying to have a normal conversation. But adding some dibs and some certain things here or there. And, I try to liven things up with some, funny music, like Let's Get Ready to Rumble and things like that. And, I just try to add some flavor to it, some pizzazz.
You do a good job. But where I was standing, I just couldn't hear it that well. I was just wondering if it was live, if you were out there, if there was an audience listening. Like I like to listen to my Phillies on the radio, you know. Keith St. Clair, you okay, brother? We're almost done here.
Yes, sir.
You got to give the kids a bath, don't you? You're going to get in trouble.
No.
All right. So, yeah, so Danny said, come on, number 32 Speed Racer, nerves of steel, brother. I had put that on the screen before the little technical difficulties. I'll put that back up. So you had a little flashback, but you throttled through. How's that for a good word, Ted? Throttled through.
Perfect.
You throttled through. Maybe I should come and co-host with you. Oh, by the way, give a shout out for the young lady that was at the Winner's Circle last night. Is that your new protege that you just recently were shopping for?
Yeah, Lexi Johnson, loves racing just as much as I do. And, I was out there looking for a victory lane announcer. I actually reached out to her because I know how passionate and, how much she loves racing just as much as I do. We constantly talk about it. And she's 2 weeks in, she's sort of, to me, feels like a natural, and, when you're in that spot, you kind of know right from the get-go, and she's just going to get better and better as the time goes on, and I'm going to, work her in slowly to some of the commentating side by side instead of victory lane stuff, but she's doing a phenomenal job already.
Yeah, I think Evergreen, I think she's set. I was actually, my back was kind of getting tight last night. I love staying for that race, though, especially with that ending. But as I was waving at you, remember I was waving at you? I was like, being all like a tourist and like a fan. I'm like, hey, there's Ted up there in the bird box. I wanted to say something to her, but I wasn't sure if that was the young lady or if you were trying different girls. But I wanted to say, as an announcer and a host on a show, I'm 3 years in, you're doing this a good while. I thought she did great. I thought for just being, because it's nerve-wracking to go up to people and put the mic in front of their face and say, especially live, especially when you got people in the stands, that's nerve-wracking. But so I think Evergreen should get her a really cool racing suit, and she should get a microphone and a cameraman. Listen, I was all through it. So tell her I said, good job. And let's get back to Keith. Keith, wrap it up for me, Speed Racer. Give us a rundown on your car. What do you need? If we were to get you a sponsor, we talking to what, about 5, 6, 8K to finish out the season? Talk to me. Let's do some math.
Yeah, probably about $5,000 to get it out there.
I mean, are we talking about all the bells and whistles? What's it cost a driver to even sign up for a race down there?
It's $35 to get in the pits, and $10 for a transponder.
And how much is that damn gas?
I don't know the breakdown, but I know for 5 gallons is $50.
And so everybody knows the transponder is what you guys are using up in the bird's nest. That's a system, a computer software that'll keep track of.
Yeah.
Ted, are you still with us? Are you alive? Are you breathing?
Yeah,
I'm
here. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna finish up.
No. My eyes are just a little low.
All right, the transponders. This is what was getting me nuts. At the end of that crazy fun race, the last race last night, you had the big spin out coming out of 3 and into 4. And then I'm like, okay, how the hell do you know who's who and what's what? And it's the software, right? The software keeps track of all that.
Yeah, the software, you have a transponder, and that has a serial number that goes into the computer system, and then you manually enter car number, driver name, and based on where the transponders are placed, which there's, a regulated space for that transponder, it picks them up on the loop that's actually grounded down into the track, and that's how you can tell who's what and who's who.
Yeah, because I couldn't even imagine what it was like to be this is my last question for you for tonight, and I hope you'll come back again and talk racing, and I hope we'll be down there when Keith gets the that's a Monte Carlo, right? Number 32 Speed Racer.
Yes, sir.
Which, by the way, folks, I've been watching him build it since like the first weld, and I was even in there changing tires for crying out loud. That car is going to look sharp. There was some, that's why I wish my software. There was the number 20 car, that 27 car. You got some really sharp looking motor vehicles down there on that track. And Keith's is going to look just as sharp when he gets it on there. Wait till the people see it. But how old is that track, Evergreen? How many years has that been running? Do you know?
Yeah.
Little history.
What, like 1940, something like that, Keith? 1940, somewhere in there?
It's a very, very, very long time.
So could you imagine, if you have people that are like getting nuts about outcomes of races, you guys have computer software and transponders. Could you imagine what a bunch of old guys in the 50s, what it was like keeping track on that track, who was in first? I could just imagine sometimes the nerves would get a little, road rage, I guess.
My Aunt Cheryl, she used to do it with a calculator and all kinds of ways back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a lapped car or if you're off the track for a little bit, I see that too. Like I seen one guy getting off the track and he made it right around before it went back to green flag. He was in the end of the field, but he didn't lose a lap, I guess. What was he leaving the track for? Air pressure maybe? Or what do you think they were doing?
Flat tire, any kind of adjustment, or, maybe he may have bumped something and felt something in the steering wheel or in the ride just to go in, get it checked out, and then, go right back out and fire it back up.
That's pretty cool. I'm just looking at my notes. My big thing, and I think I've hit the objective, is to thank Scott Adams for helping Keith out last night. I think that's pretty cool. A good just a good human story, like here's a guy just being cool. So props to Scott.
Scott's a great guy.
And Ted, props to you. You listen, I watch your page. I watch your lives when you go on Facebook. And some of the stuff you have to put up with, I know what you're going through because on the Big Daddy Road Show, I call them, you can call them what you want, but I call them the 5-pound opinions. Everybody's got them, right? So,
right.
And they don't realize the amount of work it takes to be a commentator on a show or to put shows together like this. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm not going to lie. He said, I'm not going to lie. I was a little scared on the race. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even know if Keith was going to show up for this show tonight. I'm not going to lie. So it's so frustrating when and then when you said earlier, oh, there's so much stuff going on at the track and you're just going cuckoo, which ironically, that's the father of my favorite race car driver, Sterling Marlin, Cuckoo Marlin. I really am a race fan. I mean, I could rattle them all off. The Bushes, Kyle Busch and all them guys, Richard Petty, which is probably one of my favorite race car colors, that old 43 blue. But but I just never got into the short track, and I'm kind of like bummed out. So folks, if you've never been to the short track racing, tons of bleachers down there. You had one heck of a crowd last night.
Hell yeah,
it was damn near capacity, and they were loving it, man. I went by my one friend, and he's like, I want them to wreck. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. That's what everybody wants them to do. But I'm sure you guys don't want to wreck and hit the wall. But it was a good time. And Keith, I want to thank you publicly for letting me be on your pit crew, even if it's just like in like an honorary setup. I'm not really bringing anything to the game, but just a attaboy and a don't give up. Get out there, man. And because I know you put your heart into it. I know you want to go fast.
That's all I want to do. I'll make it.
I'm sorry, Keith, you broke up there.
I said that's all I want to do is go fast. I'll make it.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to let you guys say your last words. Let's see. Danny Reed says, LOL, Big Daddy. You have me roll. Oh, I have Danny rolling. Good. I'm not even trying to be a comedian tonight, Danny, so that's good. That's a good thing. I thought I was all proud of myself just using the word throttling, actually. I thought that was kind of something. I was hoping that was something you racers would enjoy. I like words, Ted. I love words. So, Danny, thank you. I hope you guys in the racing world are sharing the Big Daddy Road Show. I hope you're sharing. Ted, when you go on your shows, you go by the moniker of the Mouth?
Yes, sir.
And I got to tell you, that's so confusing to me because I'm well known in the poker world too, and we have Mike the Mouth Matisow, who's a very famous poker player.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I bet you have. Yeah, but yeah, you do a bang up job. Here's another great word, Keith. Bang up job.
Appreciate it.
And if anybody's out there, I'm not kidding you. I'm going to become Keith's agent, his manager. I need a sponsor for the number 32 Speed Racer. I already have a guy willing to put graphics on the car for Keith, don't we, Keith? I mean, this guy's like, he works for national chains and stuff like that. Shout out to Paul if you're watching.
Nice.
We have Bruno. We have shows on the internet that are taking off, like The Grind, where they're doing motorcycle builds with the professional motorcycle builders. So like
Uncle Bruno.
the more, right? Uncle Bruno. So the more people that share these shows, you realize that we can just get to that one person that could help Keith get the sponsorship needs. We can get Keith on the road, and then we'll put a picture of my face on the hood. And if he hits the wall, well, there you go. You can have, it'll just be a great photo op, and all the haters of the Big Daddy Roadshow could just have a blast with that. But yeah, Danny said he's been sharing all night. So yeah, it's up to you racers. You know, we'll have you guys back. I loved being at the track. I really want to give a shout out to Jason again. Makarevich. It's not as hard of a word to say. I've had some guests where I don't even try to say their names, but maybe we'll have Jason on with you, Ted. What do you think?
Yeah, we could certainly try to get that worked out.
And maybe if all the race car drivers get Keith a sponsor, start talking. You know, there's all kinds of moto. I don't know. Now all of a sudden I can't talk. All kinds of auto parts stores and stuff like that. Well, I was thinking about what the name. It was some auto auction. What did I see? I can't think of it. It was like Central PA Auto Auction or something last night going around the track.
Yeah, that was on Braden Spencer's car.
Well, there you go. So some big shot out there with the big company. Let's get your graphics on Speed Racer's car. And there goes Speed. Oh, no, he's back. Okay, what's going on, Keith? Say your goodbyes, Keith. Your camera's ticking me off. I'm not going to lie.
That's because I have to be outside.
Why? Are you in the doghouse?
No, I couldn't get service in the house.
Okay. All right, everybody. This is my friend, number 32, Speed Racer. Last night, he drove Scott Adams' car, number 27. Check him out. Check out Scott's page if he has one on Facebook. I think he does. And Ted, do you have a website or anything you want to promote? Do you have a website for Evergreen and yourself?
Yeah, it's evergreenracewaypark.com, all one word. Also on Facebook at Evergreen Raceway. I don't personally have any pages. My podcast has been put on hold for a little while. But, yeah, check us out, evergreenracewaypark.com, Evergreen Raceway on Facebook. And it's a good time. Make sure you're there.
Well, if you want to, I'm just kind of throwing this out there. We're actually thinking, I'm in talking with other podcasters. We're thinking about becoming like a podcaster media group. So if you don't want to do a website, I could dedicate a whole page to you. You could be part of the Big Daddy Roadshow family. Hashtag BDRS. And we could just put all the links to your podcast when you get that cranking. Because we know, one thing we know in the podcast, there's a lot of podcasters. So Keith St. Clair, thank you for being a guest on the Big Daddy Roadshow. You are more than just a guest. You are family here. And, man, I hope you get that car out there at least to try it out for next season, because that car is awesome looking, man. I'm going to put it – well, no, I can't. My software's not working. I was going to put that primered gray 32 Speed Racer on the screen at the end of the show, but I'll put it in the comments down below right after the show.
That's all right.
All right, I'm sorry, brother. All the people.
Listen, I love and appreciate all the support. So,
well, ever since I seen you play football, I knew you had passion. All right, Keith St. Clair, thanks, man. Say goodbye to your fans on the Big Daddy Roadshow.
Thank you for everybody that supports me and wants to see me do good. I want to give a big shout out to this teddy bear right there. I first met Ted in 2008 when I originally started racing, and even all the years later, he still has the same passion as day one when I first met him. So, yeah, you're a bit of a rabid fan of racing, aren't you, Ted?
I love racing more than other than my girlfriend and my kid. I love racing as much as
ice cream.
Yeah, as much as ice cream. You got that right. Ice cream and chocolate cake.
All right, because when he said he loved the one teddy bear, I was like, which one? We're both big guys, Keith. Yeah, you racers stick together. He kicked Big Daddy to the curb. It's okay.
No. I said
know,
teddy,
Keith. Listen to me.
Teddy bear, I mean, it kind of has his name in it. Just
Gotta
says,
make sense. I know what you're saying. No, I love you. Hey, we got to get out into the Italian club and get some wings and have a good time. Oh, look at Danny. He played football with you too. He even knows about that too. So, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Keith. I'll catch you next time on the Big Daddy Road Show. I'm going to drop you.
all right, thanks for having me.
All right. Appreciate you coming on the show. All right. So, Ted, we'll wind up. Again, thank you for coming on. And like I said, I'm sorry you're going through all that stuff. I'm used to it. You just got to, I don't know what you got to do. Some days you need a psychiatrist to deal with all the, when you have a show, like I said, it's the Monday morning quarterback people. It's the opinion. It's the, when I was a president of an Elks Lodge, same thing. You'd come off the floor of a meeting and everybody had opinions. You see it on the state level, the local level of politics. Everybody's got opinions. But sometimes they're missing some of the key points of what's going on, but they still gotta, And sometimes it's just them venting. They're putting a lot of work in racing and stuff. So I'm not beating up on them either. It's got to be a lot of work. You work all week and then you work on your car at night. You get to the track but I found it to be.
It's a tough spot for race car drivers and the crew and. But they also got to understand it's tough for, the people that run the show. We don't intentionally try to, screw somebody out of a finish or screw somebody out of money. There's a rule book for a reason, and that's what it's there for. Because you got to be able to police it, and without being able to police it, it'll be a free for all. So it'll be a $50,000 demolition derby per car. So. Can't let that happen. It's unfortunate, but you move on and on to the next one.
Cool. All right. So speaking of the next one, when is the next scheduled race and what time and what day? And let's give the audience.
The next race we have is August 24th. It will be a 50-lap late model feature. We are off this coming weekend. I need a well-deserved weekend off, so that's not the reason why we're off, but August 24th will be the next race. We have a couple of races left. I think we have 4 races left, and then we go into our annual awards banquet party, whatever you want to call it, November 17th. And check out the schedule, evergreenracewaypark.com. There's lots of great stuff up there, rules, points, photos, some stories that I write. It's just a blast.
And real quick, do you happen to know who the points leaders are right now, or right off the?
I do actually.
Why don't you just throw some names? Let's give them some shout outs.
Modified point leader is Matt Hirschman, who won last night in the modifieds. Street stock point leader going into last night was Rich Pasotti. He had an off night last night, so we'll see where that pans out. The late models, it's Mike Sweeney, who is actually leading the points at both of the local asphalt racetracks. And 4 cylinders, it's Harry O'Neill. And modifieds, late models, street stocks. Factory stocks, it's Joey Helberg, who actually comes from New Jersey every race. And Evergreen modifieds, I believe it's Nick Bear, a young gun.
See, I don't know. Something told me that I wouldn't be putting you on the spot if I asked you that question. Good for you. See, I knew you loved racing. Did I read last night when I was talking about going live with you that you live in Allentown, PA? Yes.
I'm an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 5 on a good day, depending on how jamming and how fast I want to drive. But normally my routine, because I do have a routine like race car drivers. My routine is normally. I'll hop in my truck. I'll drive up the PA Turnpike. Some days I feel like country music. Other days I feel like, old school 90s hip hop rap. And I'll just sit there and I'll jam out. And, if I want to drive 75, 80, I'll do it. If I want to drive 65, 70, that's what I want to do. And I kind of just, go through my thoughts and kind of get in that groove and get yourself in that mindset like all sports people do. You have that routine, and I'll go to the track. When I go to the track, I have a routine also. I'll sit in the stands with the fans because, that's what I do. I mingle with the fans. I mingle with the with the crews, with the drivers, and you kind of get in that mindset. Okay, it's time to get going. It's time to get in that groove, and it's time to get it done, basically.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Believe it or not, this little show we just did, took me a good 4 hours of pre-production work. And then,
Wow.
yeah, and then right when I contacted you 20 minutes before the show, said, hey, we're going live. I quick jumped in the shower, got all fresh, and all through that time, I'm just thinking, what am I going to ask Ted? But really, the Big Daddy Road shows are unique because they're a podcast. We're just talking. And that's what I told you.
Right.
And you killed it, brother. I knew you would because you're a professional. But when anybody else that would want to come on the Big Daddy Road show, you just realize all podcasts are like the same as talking around a campfire or at the kitchen table. The only thing that we don't have to worry about is like going to commercial. So it's not like you got to get your message across in quick 10 minutes and then we're going to sell some butter or something. It's a conversation. It's a podcast. So, Ted, I hope you enjoyed the experience. I hope you'll tell people about it. I hope you'll share the show, and I hope you'll come back and talk to Big Daddy about racing. Especially, do me a favor, if you get Jimmy Spencer or my guy Sterling Marlin, the old Kodak race car driver, and Coors Light and blah blah blah. But I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you coming on the Big Daddy Road Show.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. It's been a blast, and I'll definitely come back on. Looking forward to it.
And tell Jason Makarovich, the promoter down at Evergreen, I appreciate the all access. I mean, never a hassle. Now that I guess they know what I look like, they know I'm not going to steal any lug nuts or anything. But I would really like to come down there with better equipment, some video people. I'd even like to maybe get a friend of mine that would do the video work, and we could do some stories. And I even had an idea for Keith StClair, but I'm not really going to put it all out there yet. But if we could do some kind of almost like a comedy for race car drivers. Yeah. It would probably take me being down there during non-racing times, but I have an idea just for doing a funny yet serious kind of spoof on race car drivers. Because me and Keith are always talking shake and bake, Talladega Nights and stuff. So, again, maybe for next year or whatever, but as we grow. But I greatly appreciate everybody being cool. Folks, once again, Evergreen Raceway, if you're in the area, it's great family fun. You can bring the young kids. You can bring the older kids. There's the T-shirt. Just go to the website. Hit me up with the website one more time for Evergreen.
Evergreenracewaypark.com.
Okay, evergreenracewaypark.com. I will put that in the comments after the show. Like I do, I'll put all the pertinent links after a talk show. So, Ted, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Keep doing what you do up there in the bird's nest.
I appreciate it, man. You want to join me anytime.
All right, yeah, I think, hey, did you notice I wasn't cussing?
Yeah, I did. Nice job, man.
I'm not going to lie to you, dude. We have people watching all over the country, right? And I get it. I got to hone my skills. It's just so hard because a podcast, you get some guests on and they're crazy. I got some crazy guests. But yeah, when in Rome, believe me, I want to do nothing but benefit the racetrack. I was blown away. Folks, it's so nice down there. It's beautiful country. It's in the farmlands of drums. And it's nestled in between these mountains. You can't even – when I was leaving, I got a view of the track from up above on the road leaving. It's really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, did you see that sunset last night?
No. I guess I was – listen, I'm going to tell you some personal story. I actually was asking my daughter to go with her old man to the races, right? And she just wasn't into it. I'm going to give her a break because she hasn't been. I got to get her to a NASCAR race, then maybe to the short track. Anyway, I was really kind of bummed about it because I was like, she's getting older. She's 14. And, when your kids are younger, they run up to you and hug you, and you're the best thing. And she's getting to be that age where it's not going to be like that. So when I got there, I felt bad for being upset that she didn't go with me because I was working with Keith, and I was talking to Scott, and I was taking my pictures for shows. I knew I would do a show. I just didn't think it would be within 24 hours. So I literally had to work on getting the graphics and getting the cool pictures. And so, yeah, I think I was just busy working. So, no, I missed the sunset. What did I miss?
Just absolutely gorgeous. You had bright orange, purple, red. The sunsets there are just absolutely incredible. You see them all around the mountains, above the trees. It's an incredible sight. I think I got a picture, but the color doesn't do it any justice at all. It was
Right.
absolutely gorgeous.
All right. Well, yeah, and you got to remember though, you're up there above the crowd. You're up there like that tower is up there pretty good. But
Yeah, it is.
post a picture in the comments down below, or don't be afraid of jumping on the Big Daddy Roadshow fan group page on Facebook, and we'd love to see you. Come in and say hi once in a while. Give us some details. Let us know who's in the points race and stuff.
You got it, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on the show. Go tell 1,000 people for us.
You got it, man. Take care.
Okay, there's Ted Grow from Evergreen Raceway. Keith St. Clair. Do you have something to say, Keith? I'm gonna put you back. Keith's being silly. It'll be a good ending to the show. You better do that again if I bring you back. You better show my audience something. This is Big Daddy on the Big Daddy Roadshow. And Keith, what's your problem? You want to come back and say goodnight or what?
What's going on, buddy? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I clicked it to see what was gonna happen. I didn't think it was gonna bring me back up.
Yeah, and you want to tell the audience what you were doing? You want to show them what you were doing in the back office?
Oh, you mean being my normal self?
Yeah, show them. Show them what you were doing. Go ahead. Perfect ending. It's a perfect ending. All right, Keith, once again, appreciate you coming on, telling your story. Make sure you tell Scott. I think I told Scott. I think Scott's great. I know you're cool. I know there's a select group of guys down there that are always trying to help each other out with a set of shocks or something. I think that's awesome. In the world that we live in today, I want a quick mention about my new political talk show that I'm working on. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it. Ted's on the chat now. I have a new political talk show. Same thing. I would like to get people that are not seeing eye to eye, get together, talk politics, but have one crazy spin. I'd like it to be positive at the end of the show. I'd like to have both sides say something positive about America. Remember last night when they were doing the national anthem and I couldn't hear the speaker system and you kind of nudged me? I was like, that was really cool that you did that because I was so into what you were telling me. I didn't hear the speaker system and the cars are running and I thought it was cool. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it at first, but once I see when people turn around and take their hats off,
listen. The speaker system just isn't the best back there because I just didn't hear it at first. I couldn't make it out. But had I heard that, I'd been nudging you. You know how I support the troops and everything like that. But all right, Danny Reed, you can say your goodbyes. Everybody in the chat, say your goodbyes now because we're out of here. Keith, thanks, brother. Listen, keep us up to date. If I'm going to use this, and you can too, use this show, we got to get you that sponsor. I know there's a sponsor out there. And folks, this car is awesome. I mean, I've seen it close up. It's the real deal, made perfectly, weld by weld. I mean, Keith, let's sell it at the end of the show here. Tell them.
I don't really talk a lot of crap, but it's gonna be a sexy ass car.
Not only it better be
all I want to do
fast.
is go fast and get the checkered flag, and eventually get to a championship again. I just need that one person or multiple people, it doesn't even matter, that believe in me. Because I could tell you something, I could drive anything with wheels. Last night, thanks to Scott Adams again, thanks to you, thanks to Bill to come out and support me. I needed that extra kick in the ass. Sorry for cursing. But I needed that extra kick. And I got out of my own mind and went back to myself. I went home, I guess to say, and I got to drive an amazing car that Scott brought to me, and I knew it was going to handle great because Scott does his homework. So
yeah, and it was great meeting Scott, and yeah, he seems a little bit he's not a big talker, but that's okay. He was doing it on the track. He does his talking on the track. All right, Keith, again, folks, get with me on BigDaddyRoadshow.com. Already, here they come. You can hear my phone going off, the messages after a show. If you hear that noise in the background, we'll be back talking racing again. That was a blast. That was actually, did you hear me talking about my idea for doing like a little comedy kind of serious racing show? Maybe we'll set that up. Yeah, we'll do like our own little Trailer Park Boys, Big Daddy Roadshow style, where I can pretend to be turning the wrenches for you and just giving you all kinds of trash. trash
Well,
talking.
we need one of those days again where you come back up to the garage.
Oh no, listen, I want beers and wings. And I'm telling you, this little quick commercial for my new series. It's called BDR Shorts, where I have shows that are hopefully, my first goal was like 20 minutes, but like today's one on my report number 3 is CBD oil. Dude, I got to tell you, there's something about this, because with what happened with me with that dryer yesterday, and then standing, you saw me a couple hours at the track, my back is tight, but I didn't wake up in pain, and I'm still not sold on it 100%, but it's a good sign putting these drops under my tongue that I didn't wake up in traction after the 2 accidents I had yesterday, though, especially the dryer. It gets me so mad that I can't even win a battle against the damn dryer, Keith. I used to be tough.
It happens, buddy.
I know, but it sucks getting old. Anyway, thanks for letting me be on your pit crew. I appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, like Danny says, and here's the website address for the track again, evergreenracewaypark.com. And thanks for watching. Please get the word out to other racers, Big Daddy Roadshow. And Keith, thanks a lot again. I don't even know why you came back, but I'm glad you did, because now the girls got to see your belly. All right, brother. We'll talk again soon. I'm sure of it.
All right, thanks, Big D.
All right, peace. We're gonna wind it on down. This is the Big Daddy Roadshow. Tonight we're talking racing with our friends from Evergreen Raceway. And son of a gun, I could definitely use better software. So after we get him a sponsor, can you guys hit up Patreon and throw me $1 a month pledge for the show? I need better damn software. That's right, Danny. Later to everybody in podcast land. That's it. We're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank my guests. I love this picture of Ted. Ted, you were awesome. I knew you would be, and I appreciate your time. Keith St. Clair, let's get you out there. This is Big Daddy, and this was a show on racing. Please share the show. Appreciate your time.